Shocking new documentary. This was released today, actually. It's made headlines already across the globe. It is called The Man with 1,000 Kids. It takes a look at the case of Jonathan Meyer, who is a Dutch man who claimed that he wanted to help a small number of women have children via sperm donation. What happened next stunned the world. I mean, I'm desperate to see this documentary. I haven't seen it yet because I'm still not quite sure what people are upset about, because I suppose if you are comfortable with the idea of sperm donation, then does it matter how many people that the person donates sperm to? Would it matter?
Isn't it dangerous, though? If, you know, he's fathering over 1,000 children, it could be quite
depended
dangerous.
how geographically they're spread out and whether they're likely to meet, because there have been stories over the last few years of people tracing siblings that, you know, and they are related through a sperm donor who was anonymous but then broke cover.
Right. My cousin was head of IVF at a big hospital, and obviously, you know, he was around when sperm donation was 15 quid a pop or whatever you say, and it was what it was. I don't know what to say. It's what students used to do to supplement their income, but it was controlled. So I called him this morning, and he said it was one donation was allowed to father 10 families.
Right.
And they didn't think that with that there was a great chance of what they call unwitting sibling rivalry. But when you are spreading yourself that wide, I don't really know what the terminology is.
Everything you say is going to be...
I know, it's going to be the double entendre. Denise disgusts viewers with... so, yes,
well, obviously
but
with
it's
the
too
online...
many. And he's doing it, he's doing it online, and he's doing it sort of... I don't know whether illegally is the way...
It seems that he, you know, reading through the notes about him, he says a Dutch court ordered him to stop donating semen to clinics or face being fined 100,000 euros. So, you know, they have attempted to stop it. But if someone is going to offer their sperm through online or whatever, it's very unregulated.
It is, and I can see why you would want to try and control it. With the internet, I think it's impossible to try and control it. But the other side of it is there is a huge market for it, because there are a lot of people who, you know, do want sperm donation in order for them to have a family.
Because it's been hugely limited by the change in the law, because you know, you used to be able to give and not to donate anonymously and could never be traced, and then they changed that. So now that's made it very difficult to get a hold of any.
And I can see that, because, I mean, if you look at it from the point of view of the child, you know, we know that a lot of people do have a desire to trace their biological parents, whilst they might be blissfully happy within their new family, or their real family, whatever you call it, that they do have that need. So I see why they introduced that. It's difficult to put yourself in that place, isn't it, as to... I was never in the position that I had to consider that, and so it's not kind of gone through my mind. But do you think, Denise, if you weren't able to have a child by natural means or whatever, you would consider it?
I certainly would have. I mean, you know, like yourself, I've been lucky enough to conceive, you know, with a partner who I was in a very invested relationship at the time. But my desire, my biological desire to have a baby was so huge. Had I been, I would have been nervous on my own, so I don't know, but I definitely would have considered sperm donation, maybe adoption, maybe even surrogacy. I don't know. I just think that would have been overwhelming for me. And I wouldn't have probably considered the future as much as maybe I should have. But then again, that was back in the day when if you did use sperm donation, they couldn't trace.
I think that since same-sex partnerships were legalised, first through civil partnerships and then through marriage, that has led to an increase in the demand for surrogacy and sperm donation.
And egg donation?
And egg donation. So what will happen, we don't really know yet. Well, whether the children from this new, you know, this new generation, whether they are going to want to trace both parents, because their pair of dads or pair of mums would consider themselves the parents. And it's going to be an interesting thing that plays out in the years to come.
Yeah.
Because I think those children, sorry to interrupt you, Kay, but I do think that children, no matter how that they're conceived in those relationships, are as valued and wanted and cherished as children brought into this world any other way.
Absolutely. Absolutely, but as you say, it's interesting that generation probably has not come to adulthood. But I do remember seeing a young guy who had been the product of a sperm donation before they had to declare themselves, so he would never find out who his father was. And he said, well, you know, couples have this biological need to have a child, but what about my biological need to know where I came from? And he would never find out where he came from. And he clearly thought that was a huge kind of gap in his life. Now, not everyone might feel that way, but for him, it was a really kind of a really sort of driving urge. Anyway, I will be watching that documentary with a huge amount of interest.
But that's clearly some kind of God complex if you want to do that when you know that you're not supposed to for 1,000.